ABC15, we take great pride in honoring our local military veterans who continue to give back. And thanks to our great partner, Sanderson Ford, we continue our ABC15 Salutes Arizona Veterans campaign. Our next honoree is Purple Heart recipient, Master Sergeant Joshua GRZYWA with the United States Army. Upon joining, one of his first duty assignments would be a day the entire world would never forget. 2 tours to Iraq, and 15 years later, Joshua came home and, like many veterans, found it difficult to adjust. Well, after experiencing the tragedy of losing many of his fellow veterans to suicide, Joshua decided to do something about it.
Supposed to be doing a departure ceremony for a representative from Australia that Tuesday morning. I'll never forget that. And one minute we were prepping uniforms and getting ready to go do the ceremony, and then the next thing you know, planes are crashing into buildings, and your entire mindset has to shift from honoring a foreign dignitary to hopefully there's people to be saved still, and now it's just reaction time, and let's do what we can and help where we can help. I re-enlisted after the attacks, and I wanted to go and deploy, and ended up with the 1st Infantry Division, with the 26th Infantry Regiment, the Blue Spaders, and our first deployment was to Iraq. We ended up doing another deployment. That one was for 18 months, and that one we were pretty much working exclusively on the eastern side of Baghdad. Our second deployment, at the time we were labeled as the most hard-hit battalion since the war had kicked off. We had lost more guys than any other battalion since the Vietnam War. And Charlie Company had been hit the hardest. We were sent into an area that just didn't have American presence for a significant amount of time. There was a lot of sectarian violence, and we were asked to do a really tough job. All veterans are really good at putting up a good front. You have to. You know, when you're deployed and, you know, things are less than ideal, you know, you just put up with stuff. And you get home and so many people feel like you have to continue to put on that front, and for whatever reason, you know, you have to be strong for a family or for your spouse, and whatever the reason is, a lot of those burdens many people carry with them silently. They feel that they can't let other people know what's going on. They feel like they don't have somebody that they can rely on. It's a challenge, and even with the discussion amongst the veteran community about reaching out and, you know, calling a friend when you need to talk, people are still hesitant to. Everybody that leaves the military goes through that transition. Unfortunately, experiences kind of vary in how they go through that. These men and women are doing a very difficult job. They come home, and for some of them, they've got nowhere to turn to. And there is a problem in the military community of suicide. Over about a 3-week period, there was 8 veterans that I knew that committed suicide, not only from my from the units that I deployed with, but, you know, other units that I had served in. There's something very wrong with that. When you get home and you're supposed to be safe, and you're supposed to be celebrating what you did, and you're supposed to be looking forward to that next chapter in your life, to still lose the men and women that you served with, to still see them suffering and then reach that point in their lives, I think that was the turning point for us, where we said, we're going to do something. So Deep Sea Valkyries, our mission is to enhance the lives of veterans through the treatment of not only post-traumatic stress, but other combat-related traumas. We go to one of the most beautiful places on earth. We have an amazing staff that's full of veterans that care deeply. You know, we care not only about what you did, but what you're going to do. A lot of veterans out there, they hear, you know, all the time, thank you for your service. Well, if there's veterans out there right now, I want you to know, from one veteran to another, thank you. Your service means something, but your life after service means just as much, if not so much more.
We welcome to our studios Joshua GRZYWA. Welcome to Sonoran Living. I'll say again, thank you for your service, and thank you for thanking your fellow veterans. Why is that important for you to still say that, Joshua?
I think exactly what we said in the video. Their service, it means something. In our program, we talk about how every veteran writes a chapter in our nation's history, but just because their service is done doesn't mean their life is done. There's so much more for them to do, and I think they have a responsibility to be productive members of society, to care for their families. The time in service is important, but you have the rest of your life, and that's important too.
Deep Sea Valkyries, you believe in healing, and you use that opportunity to bring veterans together with other veterans who are conducting this healing, I'm going to call it, mind, body, and soul. I want to talk about success. Tell me about what happens after the program. What have you seen? Sure.
The successes are not just in the short term from when they immediately get home, but we're seeing long-term success. And I think that's what's critical, is that the treatment they're receiving is paying dividends, not the week after, but the year or two after. We have participants that are completing school, so they're returning to college, getting their degree, finding productive employment. We had a veteran that opened up their own gym, and so they're, that physical aspect of well-being, they're sharing that with other veterans. And we're finding a lot of veterans that were uncomfortable in public are going outside, re-engaging with their community. And possibly the best compliment is we have spouses, caregivers, family members that have said, my veteran is a different man or woman coming back from your program. And that's huge.
You're creating a shift, a pivot, and that's exactly what you want to do. Some of it's short term, but you have seen some really long-term effects from this. You're getting ready to go on another trip soon. When are you leaving?
We leave July, we're leaving on July 12th. All the participants leave on July 13th.
And you accept veterans. They need to submit pretty much a simple paragraph or two as to why they think this program might work for them. That's all you're asking for.
That's it. And then some proof that they're a veteran. But yeah, we want to know what they want to get out of this experience, and that's the number one thing we're looking for.
Well, our community is so appreciative of the fact that you're still giving back to our country, and especially here to our local veterans. And on behalf of our partner, Sanderson Ford, and us here at ABC 15, this is for you at Deep Sea Valkyries. This is a $500 Visa gift card, and hope that we can help heal another veteran.
Absolutely. Thank you.
GRZYWA, no, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back.